Greetings, beloveds. Welcome and peace be with you. I'm Reverend Mitzi and I am so glad that you're here. Something within you was calling you to watch, and I'm very grateful that you answered that divine call. Welcome to Unity of Tempe Online. So this week we continue our spiritual awareness with practical tools we can use as we reacquaint, reflect, and ruminate upon the 5 fabulous principles that underlie the core of unity. First, though, we're going to have a song from our wonderful songstress, Zephyrin.
Welcome and namaste. I'd love to present to you a song co-written with my friend and colleague Renee Morgan Brooks, and it is called Passionate Soul of Creation. In the beginning, we were born into a body and into a breathing, living soul. I am the passionate soul of creation, dancing and singing my song. I am the passionate soul of creation, emerging I belong, emerging I am strong. We're all so strong. I am the passionate soul of creation, living and playing my song. I am the passionate soul of creation, emerging I am one. I am one with all creation, one. I am one. I am dancing and singing my song. I am the passionate soul of creation, emerging I am one. I am one with all creation, one. I am one. I am.
Thank you, Zephyrin, for that wonderful and very timely song. Very powerful. So last week we explored Unity Principles 1 and 2, and this week we're going to be exploring Principles 3, 4, and 5. Now, if you missed last week's message, I really encourage you to watch. It's still up on the website. But before we delve into Principles 3, 4, and 5, here's an ever so brief recap of the first two principles. Principle number 1, God is the source and creator of all. There is no other enduring power. God is absolute good, everywhere present, omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. So the core idea of the first principle is omnipresence, meaning God is everywhere. And a way of remembering it is God is. So and you know what? Just say that with me. God is. That's right. God is. And here's a brief recap of the second unity principle. We are spiritual beings created in God's image from spirit. The presence of God dwells within each person. Our essence is God, therefore we are inherently good. And the core idea of this second principle is oneness. It's all about who we are in God. Say with me, beloveds, I am. Yes, God is, I am. So that's principles number 1 and 2. And again, for a much more detailed exploration of the first two principles, including discussion of why people may commit heinous acts of atrocities if humans are inherently good, please watch last week's message. So now we move to principles 3, 4, and 5. These are spiritual practices that assist us in putting the first two principles, God is, I am, out into the world. And here are some variations of principle number 3. Human beings create their experiences by the activity of their thinking. Our thinking creates our experience of life. Everything in the manifest realm has its beginning in thought. Our thoughts, our feelings, and beliefs have the power to create our reality. So the core idea of the third principle is it's mind. It's mind. Our thoughts, beliefs, and feelings have the power to create our reality. So say with me, I am creative. I am creative. God is, I am creative. And from the scripture, from Proverbs, and I've got two different translations for you. More than anything you guard, protect your mind, for life flows from it. And be careful how you think. Your life is shaped by your thoughts. The creative power of our thoughts and feelings, it's also known as the law of attraction. And we create with every thought we think and every emotion that we feel, whether we believe it or not. Our thoughts and feelings go to what we choose to give our attention and focus. Now this, of course, it's not a new concept. Over 2,500 years ago, the Buddha said, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. The mind is everything. What we think, we become. Thoughts. Thoughts. We have a lot of them, don't we? Experts, depending on who we listen to, say that we have anywhere from 12,000 to 70,000 thoughts a day. That's a lot of thoughts. And you know what? For many people, something like 90% of those thoughts are negative. Imagine that. 90% of many people's thoughts are negative, and that's a lot of negativity swirling around. Now, for those of us striving to follow positive unity principles, I'm fairly sure that our percentage of negative thoughts is considerably less than 90%. In fact, I'm almost positive of it. But having said that, it's completely understandable, beloveds, if this year your thoughts have been more negative than usual. Let yourself off the hook and remind yourself that this is a year unlike any other. And I know all years are unlike any others, but this year of 2020, well, it really is a time that we've never seen in our lifetime before. So let yourself off the hook and remind yourself that you are doing the best you can. And I know that to be true of you. Now, as it's impossible to pay attention to a possible 70,000 thoughts a day, a great deal of our thoughts are unconscious. They come, they go, and we're not even cognizant of them. They're just kind of there, somewhere in the back of our subconscious, and they're supported by and given energy by our past experiences, by our beliefs, and a whole array of what we choose to fill our minds with. Therefore, perhaps even more important than our thoughts in creating our reality are our feelings. And that's why it's so important for us to try and align ourselves with things that raise our emotions rather than lowering them. We have to make conscious choices to fill our spiritual tank with things that support and nurture us, nurture our vibration, raise our vibration. Now, perhaps, like me in the past few weeks, you've thought, my desire to be well informed is currently at odds with my desire to stay sane. And that is where we kind of are right now. And it's okay to do things that nurture your vibration and raise your vibration. Ellen Davenport, in the book The 5 Principles, says, focusing on what we want is never more difficult than when something we don't want has occurred. Focusing on what we want is never more difficult than when something we don't want has occurred. Oh, there's so much truth in that statement, isn't there, beloveds? It's very challenging to focus on a different outcome when something that we don't want has happened. But now, if we don't like how something is showing up in our lives, why can't we just think positively about it and have it instantaneously, like that, be different? Well, that's because sometimes what we want involves other people, and they have their own wants and desires. And we create not just as individuals, but as groups. The collective consciousness of humanity, past, present, and perhaps even future, is creating the world we experience now. And the world we are part of is created by the sum total of all thoughts, all beliefs, all emotions, all needs, all desires, whether they be noble or whether they be nefarious. And that's why we don't sing, Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin by me manipulating the thoughts of others. Even though sometimes we'd like to do that. We'd like to say, let us just have others thinking thoughts of peace too. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Creating a utopia. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with the thoughts of others having peace. Ellen Davenport says, because our creations are mixed in a soup with 7 billion others at varying levels of consciousness, we are unlikely to create a utopia anytime soon. But I believe the more deliberately we employ Principle 3, the more peaceful and happy our lives will be. So, as much as we want the world, and by world I mean the entire world, not just our little slice of it, as much as we want the world to reflect utopia, it's probably not happening anytime soon. Humans have been fighting physically and verbally for eons and eons and eons. Probably the first cavemen were fighting, right? But that doesn't mean we give up trying to create a more loving world reflecting our belief of oneness. And a way we can reflect the Christ presence is by choosing, to the best of our ability, to direct our thoughts and emotions to align with what we desire to see, not only for ourselves, but for the world. And the more we do this, the more peace we will have in our own lives. It's also important to remember that we don't always know the larger meaning of circumstances at the time we experience them. Sometimes what may seem to be a terrible event may turn out to be the catalyst for our highest possible good. But be careful, beloveds, not to get hooked into saying, it's all good, when heinous things happen to yourself, to others, and in the world. Why do I say this? Because saying it's all good when really awful things are happening comes across as not being compassionate and being out of touch with the pain another is experiencing. A true oneness, it's not just about everything being happy, happy, joy, joy. It's about our connection with God and with our fellow travelers on this earthly journey. It's about raising our vibration, and it's also about raising our empathy. For that is love. And life on this plane, while often a magnificent adventure, can sometimes be incredibly gut-wrenching. And to me, Principle 3, that we create our experience of reality, while a foundational core of what we teach in Unity, does in some sense rely on a certain privilege that others may not have. What do I mean when I say that? Well, I'm thinking of those born in extreme poverty, perhaps in this country, perhaps in other parts of the world. Those born into lives of abuse. Yes, it is possible to transcend all of that. But let's be honest. Some of our fellow travelers on this earthly journey have a lot more stacked against them. Now, because I want to leave Principle 3 on a positive note, I'd like for us to consider Malala, a young girl who stood up for what she valued and who defied the Taliban in Pakistan, demanding that girls be allowed to receive an education. Shot in the head by a Taliban gunman in 2012, she survived and went on to become the youngest person ever to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. Malala went through a horrible experience, but ultimately she used it to create a platform to spread good. Now let's move on to principle number 4, prayer. And here are some variations. Prayer increases our awareness of God. Prayer is creative thinking that heightens our spirit connection and brings forth wisdom, healing, prosperity, and all that is good. Affirmative prayer is the activity that allows us to know our oneness. Prayer is not something we do for God, but is something we do to maintain our awareness of truth. So the core idea of the 4th principle is prayer, the activity by which we may directly experience God. And say with me, I am prayerful. That's right, I am prayerful. So let's go over them again. God is, say these with me, God is, I am creative, I am prayerful. And the scripture that supports this principle is from Mark. So I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it. Believe that you have received it. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the 4th principle. Why? Well, because my September 6th message, How to Let God Help You, week 4, was all about supercharging our prayers. And it was all about prayer and how important prayer is in our lives. And it went into the 5 steps of affirmative prayer. And that message is still available to watch or rewatch. And I do encourage you to do so if you'd like a refresher, if you'd just like to get more grounded in prayer. Suffice it to say that prayer is one, if not, I believe, the most essential of our spiritual tools. For it is how we commune with God. There are numerous forms of prayer and meditation. So which one is best? Well, it's the one that you consistently use, the one that connects you to the divine presence. And my encouragement for you is to find a way of praying or meditating that works for you. And as Nike said some time ago, just do it. And also, don't be afraid to change it up. Your personal communion with the divine is just that, your personal communication. Now let's look at the final unity principle, action. And here are some variations. Knowing and understanding the laws of life, also called truth, are not enough. Knowledge of these spiritual principles is not enough. We must live them. A person must live the truth that he or she knows. So the core idea of the 5th principle is action. Use all the principles in your life. And say with me, I am living it. I am living it. God is, I am creative, I am prayerful, I am living it. And scriptures that support this, I've got 2 different ones, come from 1 John. Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth. And I have another one from the same scripture, but a different translation. My little children, don't just talk about love as an idea or a theory. Make it your true way of life and live in the pattern of gracious love. Don't you love that? Live in the pattern of gracious love. Let us live in the pattern of gracious love. And why love for action? Because that sums up so much of all of our beliefs about unity. The principle of action, well, it's where the rubber hits the road, so to speak. It means showing up to the best of our ability in all of the activities of our life, in our family, in our work, in our play, in our relationships, with a consciousness that what we do and who we are and what we share out in the world, the way that we behave, matters. And it means not just listening to messages about living a fuller life in unity. It means taking action, living in a way of gracious love that unfolds that. It means doing the work necessary to remain conscious and able to shine our Christ light out in the world, even in the most challenging of situations and circumstances. Now, each week, I encourage us to use the 5 principles in our lives. And sometimes it's one principle, sometimes it's all of them. Now, I'm not saying each week that I say, oh, now we're talking about principle 1, principle 2, principle 3, principle 4. But you know, I often do share about taking action interspersed with all of those other principles. To help us remember the 5 principles, the acronym UMPA. Yes, UMPA. Say that with me. UMPA, like Oompa Loompa. UMPA may be useful. What does UMPA stand for? It stands for omnipresence, oneness, mind, prayer, and action. Omnipresence, oneness, mind, prayer, and action. Or, as we've been saying today as well, God is, say this with me, God is, I am creative, I am prayerful, I am living it. I am living it, because I'm putting it all together, right? God is, I am creative, I am prayerful, I am living it. So now that you're familiar with the 5 principles, or you've become reacquainted with them, be looking for them as they show up in my messages. And so, beloveds, we're going to anchor this in with a short prayer, after which we'll do our financial blessings and our prayer for protection, and then move directly into our meditation for the election. I do encourage you to stay on and watch that meditation for the election, not just once, but maybe watch it again in the coming days as well. Loving God, loving divine presence, who is omnipresent, omnipresence, omniscient, who is all that there is and with which we are connected. We can say, God is and we are. And we accept and know that our thoughts are creative. We are creative and we are prayerful. And we live lives of action, revealing these truths in our own lives and in our world. And let us take this message today and live it more fully in our lives. We affirm blessings of peace, of safety, of wholeness, of wellness for each and every person who may be struggling in any particular way. We lift up each and every person, each and every event that is going on for the absolute highest and best of all humanity. God is, we are creative, we are prayerful, and we are living it. And so it is, and for this we are grateful. We let go and know that it is so, and so it is. Amen. And so now, beloveds, it is time for our financial blessings. We are so incredibly grateful for your financial support of your beloved Unity of Tempe community, your Unity of Tempe family. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your gracious support. There is no amount too large. I'll start with that because I always say no amount too small. I'm changing it up. There is no amount too large and there is no amount too small. Then we are just very grateful because we know as we give, we receive. As we give, we receive. As we give, we receive. And we see complete abundance shining forth on every single person who is participating with us in supporting our Unity of Tempe family through their financial blessings, shimmering every single person prosperous, shimmering us prosperous, shimmering us prosperous. And you know what? I tithe and I got a wonderful, unexpected financial blessing last week, completely unexpected. This stuff works. As we give, we receive. I know it. It happens in my own life. I am a tither and I can tell you it works. Even in 2020, it works. So we give graciously and generously. And now let us join in our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. All is well and we are grateful. Now, beloveds, I'm going to guide us all on a meditation visualization prayer for the well-being of the election. So allow yourself to breathe in, breathe fully in, into every single cell of your body. Inhale and exhale. Inhale fully and exhale fully. And do that 2 more times. Letting go of any stress and any worry. And now, beginning with your toes, allow your toes to just be relaxed. Let them just wiggle around. Clench your toes and relax, feeling the calm, feeling the peace around your toes and your feet. Moving up to your calves now. Tensing your calves, very tense, very tight. And let go. Letting all that perfect flowing energy flow from your calves down to your toes. Now moving up to your thighs, clenching your thighs as tight as you can. And release, let go, feeling that energy, that peace flow from your thighs all the way down to your toes. Now moving up to your hip area, allowing your hips and all your buttocks to tighten, 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 and release. Feeling that divine peace and release flowing all the way from your hips down to your thighs, down to your calves, down to your toes. Moving up to your stomach and tensing your stomach tightly. And release, let go. Let calmness flow all the way down through all parts of your body to the tips of the toes. And now up to your chest area. Tightening up, and releasing, letting go all the way down to your toes, calm and peaceful. And now up to your neck, and tensing up your shoulders and your arms and your hands, feeling very tense, 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 holding, and release, dropping your shoulders down. Breathing in, feeling calm all the way from your shoulders through every part of your body down to your toes and out. Calm. You're doing so perfectly, beloveds. And now up through your neck, up through your head, through your face. Tighten every facial muscle like you're on the head of a pin. Tighten, 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 and release. Let go. All the way down to your toes and up through your crown chakra. And feel all of that energy flowing down from the top of your head down to your toes and up again from the tips of your toes all the way up, all feeling very calm, peaceful, relaxed, breathing in and letting go. And if at any time your mind should wander, just come back, allow yourself to come back to just hearing the sound of my voice and just pick up wherever you are, knowing that you are doing perfectly. And so now, beloveds, with a calm in-breath, I want you to visualize that you are at the top of a mountain. Yes, the top of a very high mountain, and it's cool, and there is a slight breeze, and there are beautiful pine trees, and from your vantage point you see all the magnificent fall colors. And as you look out from your gorgeous vantage point, you see amazing blue clear skies. And as you look even further, you see that you can see for miles and miles, thousands upon thousands of miles. You are amazed how far you can see. From your vantage point, you see all of the 50 states: Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. And now, see each of these beautiful, great states of the United States of America bathed in the qualities, the spiritual qualities that you're voting for. See them bathed in these qualities, regardless if you have any negative connotations or any negative beliefs about these states. See each state bathed in the spiritual qualities and principles and values that are important to you. And now, see each and every single state having safe and decisive electoral processes. See each and every citizen's votes counted fairly. and equitably. Surround each person of every single state with the qualities that you are desiring to see. Send that out and forth to each and every person. Those spiritual qualities that are so important to you. And see whether those citizens vote by mail, whether they drop off their vote at a ballot box, or whether they are in person, that each and every single vote of every single state, every single county is counted fairly and equitably. See every single key issue for you being addressed for the highest and best of all citizens. And now breathe in those spiritual qualities. Breathe them in again into yourself and let them empower you. Those spiritual qualities live in you as your divine Christ essence and presence. Breathe them in, feeling them and amplifying them with every single breath. And now see yourself sharing these qualities. You're guided to share them in extraordinary ways, in ways you hadn't even thought of before. This is who you are. These spiritual qualities that you are desiring to see in the leaders that you are choosing may be found in you. They are who you are, beloveds. Breathe in more strength and more of these qualities, and exhale them now out into the world, across all of the 50 states again. And as you breathe in again this time, you inhale even stronger the qualities, more fully, more completely they amplify in you. And you exhale again. And release them again, knowing that as you inhale once more, they reside in you. The oneness of all of these qualities reign in you, and they are yours to share. They are yours to share, to reveal more light into the world. Take a moment to allow yourself to bathe in this peace. Inhaling one more time. Exhaling. Know that you can come back anytime you like to be in this safe place, to share your spiritual principles, your spiritual qualities, your spiritual values. And now gently allow yourself to come back into the present moment, into the now moment, starting with feeling your fingertips, Let them tingle. Feel them, feel your legs, roll your shoulders. Gradually open your eyes and come back. Letting yourself come back fully and completely.